I refuse to pay for any Apple products. Story 1. I bought two of their printers on Facebook Marketplace, and both times they malfunctioned when I tried to use aftermarket ink. The second one seemed to completely stop working and wouldn't even accept the cartridge it came with. All the unnecessary software that complicates printing, along with their persistent ads for subscription-based ink, has ensured that I will never use their products again. I would even be wary of an employer that uses Hewlett-Packard. Story 2. I don't know, man. I resent advertising, so there are only a few heavily marketed products that are good enough for me to decide there's not really a feasible alternative. As far as things I've been disappointed with, every brand of work clothes has sacrificed their original quality. Carhartt, Timberland, Dickies, it's all lightweight materials these days. You have to get lucky at Goodwill to find the canvas-type pants with real weight anymore. Story 3. Hostess. They have gone with shrinkflation full throttle, and the products are really bad. I used to love all kinds of their cakes, but twice this past summer I took one bite and threw the rest away. Really bad all around. Never again. Story 4. The vast majority of mainstream clothing brands, it's all overpriced and you're paying for the logo, not an increase in quality. B. I'm really put off and annoyed by most ad campaigns of these brands. They're clearly targeting kids with the messaging and designs of the products themselves. I'd rather take my business elsewhere. I try to buy items that are meant to last from smaller, local manufacturers like shoes, pants, suits, and buttoned-up shirts. For the ones that get used up quickly, I have tested brands of fairly cheap, mass-produced items. I buy in bulk, like 20 white t-shirts or 6 pairs of the same cargo shorts, then dress like a cartoon character in the same casual outfit every day. Story 5. Samsung, garbage refrigerators. Walmart, not just Walmart brand stuff, but I won't spend money in their stores. Yeah, I've never bought one, my mom did. I do the maintenance for her, and her engine started burning through oil almost a quart per tank of gas. It was under warranty, and the dealer kept saying that since we can add oil, they won't fix it. Finally, one of the service technicians told me that they won't fix them unless the engine's seized. Then they just check if it has oil in it, and if it does, it's covered. Finally got it covered, sold it, and bought her a RAV4. Story 6. Booking.com. Their faulty booking system charged me twice for a hotel room that was already occupied, which I only found out when I arrived at the hotel to check in. I called them, and the agent told me it was a mix-up and I would be repaid in full in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I still did not have the refund, so I called them, and they accused me of lying and then refused to refund me for either charge. I had to get my bank to do a chargeback. Jerks. Story 7. Local milk brand. Got 3 jugs, not at the same time but weeks apart, that all said there was a week left. The next day, yes, every time it was all spoiled. It took me 3 tries to learn to stop being stupid. Story 8. Eddie Bauer. They treated me poorly around the pandemic, and they're no longer a brand I support. Essentially, I was out $600 for 5 months due to their mistake, and I couldn't dispute the charge. It's a long story. Never again, Eddie Bauer, never again. Story 9. Bank of America. They bought out my former bank, charged excessive fees, and infuriated me with extremely poor customer service. Worst bank ever. Never again. Story 10. Subaru. Took me 18 months and filing a lawsuit to get them to fix the car I bought from them brand new. I have owned a couple of their cars and really like the products when they are working as advertised, but after what they put me through to get my brand new car to work, they are dead to me. They were well aware of the problems I was having, and after about a dozen documented trips to the dealership, the Subaru of America representative just said there is nothing more we can do. It turned out that my attorney found a lot they could do. Story 11. The thing is, you can stop buying one brand and switch to a different brand, but both brands might be owned by the same corporate conglomerate or licensing agent. That said, forget Hey Dudes. I have been dealing with plantar fasciitis for about a year because of their shoes. Story 12. Adobe. I am just going to pirate all their products from now on. They ran a company scam where they auto-renewed people's subscriptions, going so far as to blame the customers and refusing to remove cards attached to the accounts. 6 months of back and forth was enough to make me want to burn them down. Forget those shady, greedy bastards. You are never seeing a dime from me again, but I assure you I will be using your product for free from now on. Story 13. Good morning. Ignoring 10 years of ongoing transmission problems from its core customer base as normal behavior, resulting in 2 class action lawsuits for this specific issue, is downright embarrassing. Might as well just say they consider their customers as line items in need of exploiting. Story 14. Western Digital removed support for the WD My Home. I don't mean they wouldn't help with any problems. I mean the device could no longer be accessed except locally. I would have to buy their new upgraded product if I wanted the same functionality. I will never buy any Western Digital product ever again. Story 15. I absolutely refuse and will never purchase another Razer product again. For all the aesthetic and marketing, their quality control is absolute junk. I have sworn off the brand for life after paying for the Naga Pro and having tracking issues. After going online, it seemed it was a common problem and people just either accepted it or moved on. I loathe Razer and would rather use a little mouse nub in the middle of a keyboard than ever use any of their mice again. Story 16. Logitech. Their hardware and software have lost so much quality it's a disgrace, especially the gaming headsets. Sound quality fluctuates, their software is unreliable and often crashes the sound drivers entirely. On top of that, I lose wireless connection frequently and have to restart the device multiple times for it to connect with the PC in the first place. My first Logitech headset lasted 8 years and is still functioning today, even though it sat on my shelf for an additional 4 years. All the others I bought after that broke within a year or had just so many problems. Story 17. I feel you. Every time I look at Apple prices, I wonder if their products come with a lifetime supply of avocados or something. It's like paying for a designer brand, but instead of wearing it, you're just holding a phone while your bank account cries in the corner. Story 18. Dyson, since the patent expired, originally lasted me 15 years. I have had 2 newer ones since, and both get clogged easily. I have had the rubber transition tube split at the springs and have had the plastic hose extension piece become unglued. Story 19. I was ambivalent until you tried to sell me whole body spray that 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend. Forget you. Forget you for perpetuating the myth that even healthy women need to cover their natural scent with artificial scents in their most sensitive area. Forget you for making women who might actually need some medical intervention think that spraying themselves might fix it. Forget you for saying a women's health specialist would agree. They wouldn't. Forget you. There are lots of brands selling this product, but Secret is the one I hear about the most often, and the only one I've heard making it sound like doctors support its everyday use specifically on genitals and not the more generic, it is safe to use anywhere. Edit. Whoops. Sorry, just realized what discussion group this is. I am not a guy. Story 20. Calvin Klein. Went to the mall to pick up my partner from work one day 6 or so years ago, and was going to visit Calvin Klein for some underwear. But then I saw, for some reason, the Kardashians plastered all over the store. Do you really think Calvin Klein is a brand that needed that family to represent? Walked out, never went back. Story 21. Levi's used to be my go-to brand when they were made in the United States and Mexico. Now that the supply chain is all over the world, the same pants fit differently. For example, 501 jeans used to always fit the same. Now I can buy 2 pairs of the same size and one will be too big. The other is kind of tight or fits my thighs differently. It's pretty sad that an iconic name like that is so down in quality. Story 22. Not a brand really, but I will never do any business with Bank of America again. They were vultures in the early 2000s when I was just getting financially stable. I'm sure they will continue to do just fine without me, though. Story 23. They are the flatworms of information technology. Invasive, vicious, toxic, alien. The Office suite is good. The operating system is a shame. But I can't support that organization in any way. Story 24. Dodge. Anything that's been made by Fiat Chrysler Automobiles or Stellantis is poor quality. I had a diesel truck, Ram 1500, with only 158,000 miles on it, so still a fairly low mileage truck, and the motor seized completely after I only had it for 2.5 years. There were so many recalls on those trucks, and Stellantis pretty much recognizes that their motors aren't good but refuses to do anything about them. I wish I had gotten rid of it a long time ago. Story 25. Good call on Apple. They're terrible products if you intend to do anything besides exactly what Apple will allow. Chrysler, though, bought a PT Cruiser, ex-wife's idea, don't come at me, back in 2006. It was trashed after 100,000 miles. Air conditioning went out. Engine started sounding like a dryer full of bricks despite regular oil changes and maintenance. I will say, though, that little car was the best ice driver I've ever had. Didn't matter if your tires were bald. Something about the engine placement over the front axle combined with the large wheel size, I guess. It would climb a hill covered in ice and pass 4x4s just spinning out. Story 26. An update from Apple fried my iPod Touch when I was 15 or 16. I took it to an Apple store and explained the situation. They said it was out of warranty and offered me 10% off if I traded it in. I have not bought any Apple products since and never will again. Story 27. Agree with Apple products. Too expensive for no particular gain. BMW. There is a gain, and the cost of regular maintenance isn't terrible. The problem is the number of things they identify as repairs that are actually maintenance items is ridiculous. Regularly scheduled water pump replacements shouldn't be a thing. And if they are, they should be easier to do. Story 28. I'll probably get hate for this one, but Subaru. I got a 2013 Forester with 70,000 miles hearing that these are the most bulletproof cars on the road. They'll drive until they hit 300,000 miles. They're great on gas. Everyone who owns one loves them, and I do understand why people like them. When it was working, it was a fun car to drive around. That said, the Boxer engine Subaru has been putting in these cars since the 90s is absolute garbage. It's not fuel efficient at all. Mine got 22 miles per gallon highway on a good day. It's absolutely gutless with practically no acceleration whatsoever, and a good portion of Subarus that do hit 200,000 miles are already well into their second engine by that point or have at least had to have the head gaskets done. I don't get how Subaru has managed to coast on their reputation for as long as they have, but a Toyota RAV4, a Highlander, a Honda CR-V, or a Honda Pilot will do the all-wheel drive hatchback thing just as well as a Subaru, and they get better gas mileage, have more power, are significantly more reliable, and don't frequently have mechanics that refuse to work on them. Story 29. Apple. I actually used to use a lot of their products, though never an iPhone, not for any particular reason. But I bought a new MacBook, top-of-the-line non-pro model at the time. Used it for about 3 years, and the keyboard and disk drive both failed. Still, it didn't stop me from using it and really had no ill will even then. I had multiple generations of iPod up until that point as well as headphones. Then I decided it was time to upgrade my iPod, so I got a Touch, which was fairly new at the time. When I went to sync it with the MacBook, I needed to update my iTunes to the newest version for it to work. Okay, that's fine. Oh nope. Can't install the newest iTunes on my MacBook because my operating system was outdated. This started raising some red flags. Again, my MacBook was only 3, maybe 4 years old at this point. I'm a little annoyed, of course, because I feel like I shouldn't have to pay to upgrade my operating system just to use my iPod, but it was new and I wanted to use it and I figured, well, at least my laptop will be up to date. I went to download the new operating system because my disk drive was busted. Nope. It turns out for whatever reason, because my MacBook is too old, it can't be installed through the downloadable version, and I can only use the CD install. But again, broken disk drive. At this point, I'm really upset. I backed up my hard drive, wiped the laptop, and threw it in the trash. Sold the iPod on eBay since it was open. This was before Amazon was really doing their thing. For a loss and swore off all Apple products from that point forward. Now I'm sure they've gotten better in terms of integration and upgrades, but it left such a sour taste in my mouth that I was basically locked out of any future tech because I had the audacity to still have a 3 to 4-year-old MacBook. I'll never spend a cent of my own money on an Apple product again. Story 30. Ride 1-Up electric bikes. They treated me poorly. The owner of the company was unhinged, and it turns out many other people had similar negative experiences. When I posted about my issues on Reddit, multiple employees commented negatively, including the owner who lied in his comments and replies. In a funny but messed up way, There is a large unofficial Facebook group for Ride One Up electric bike owners. After discovering the owner's name through my email conversations with him, I realized he was replying to many posts on the Facebook page. This would be fine, except he was careful not to reveal his connection to the brand, let alone that he was the owner. If someone asked about his connection to the company, he would never reply. It was so slimy. It's unfortunate because they make some great electric bikes, but if you get one that is damaged or defective, you're in for a bad time. Story 31. I am upset after I heard what they did to a kitten. No, I will not tell you what they did because you can't unring that bell, and it's so horrible that it makes me want to cry. I can count on one hand the number of times I've cried in the last 5 years. Story 32. K Jewelers. I bought my girlfriend a pearl bracelet, and a pearl fell out 2 days later. The cement for the pearls wasn't even sticky to the touch after the pearl was out. Cheap garbage that looks flashy.